Can't comb my hair.
Which one, A or B? I mean, yeah, well, your fan club love you anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so hello everybody. I guess we are live now in here. Walter's fixing his hair again. Oh, that was in the video. Just looking to see if we have sound. So it doesn't. Oh, we do. Matter. Good, good, good. Almost had a heart attack there for a moment. Didn't think we were going to have sound. Okay, welcome everybody. And Russ was our first. He says, hi, Stephen. Hi, Walter. Hi, chat. Hi, Pachyderm. Okay, because it took me a minute to figure out what Russ was talking about, because Russ always has a way of being a little cryptic, if you know what I mean. Because we called this the elephant in the room. Yes. Walter was hesitant for me to talk about this topic, and yes, we are going to talk about the U.S. election. That's the elephant in the room. However, we're going to talk about it today from a point of view as Canadians. And we'll say more about that in a bit. But first, we have other business to take care of, other things to talk about and look at. So that will be our discussion when we get to it. But you know how we are about getting to our main point. Sometimes we never get there. But we will definitely try today. But let's say hello to everybody. So hello, Russ. Hello, Inez. Hello, Brenda. Donna. Who else is here? Judy's here, and Charlotte, and Gloria, and Lydia is here, and Jackie, and Mona, who is balloonist. Everything just bounced up. Joan Reed is here from Springfield, Illinois. I think every state in the United States has a Springfield. That's why the Simpsons are in Springfield, because you never know what state they're really in. Suzanne is here. Faith is here. Nina is here. Heather is here. Sue Norfleet is here. Karen Cox. Pamela. Mary. Dale. Cozy Hermitage Craft Cottage, which I never remember your name. Sorry. Jen is here. Tamala. Colleen. Robert. Judy. Everybody's coming in. So I guess you want to hear about the elephant in the room, but not yet. No. And it isn't Walter.
It'd be more like you.
Wait. Let's talk about this for a second. You know that we have been on a diet. When I say we, I have been forced.
On a diet.
Well,
actually, I'm not really on it. I've been changed the way I eat.
Don't go shopping with him. Okay, we almost had domestic in an aisle at the superstore a couple of hours ago because, as Walter always said, what do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. What do you want? I don't know. Back and forth, back and forth. And I haven't got a clue what to have for dinner anymore because it doesn't matter. He goes, eh. So, you know, it's not like I have a say.
Yeah, but you always want pasta and stuff like that, which I'm not eating right now.
I don't always want pasta. I just want something with some substantial in it, you know. An attractive vegetable is not doing it for me. But anyways, so I said, well, it's rainy, drizzly gray here today and kind of coolish, right? So I'm thinking, how about soup? How about some soup? Walter makes good homemade soup. And he says, well, what kind of soup? I said, I don't know. What kind do you want to make? We have some carrots. You want to put carrots in it? In that? So it's a tomato-based soup that he's making. And so he decided he needed a can of tomato juice for this. So we stopped at the grocery store to pick it up. And of course, Walter reads a lot. Labels. Try to get him to read a novel? No. But if it's a label on the side of a package, he's there. Okay? So we're checking the carbohydrates and the sugars, you know, all that stuff on there. So good. He's got a can of tomato juice in his hand. It's a President's Choice Blue menu. Those were supposed to be, when they first came out, supposed to be better for you or something. That's the way they put them. They're not. They're just more expensive. And they have a tin of tomato juice. And it had how many grams of fat in it?
No, grams of sugar.
Or grams, sorry, excuse me, whatever.
6
Sugar.
grams per cup.
6 grams per cup. Now, the one sitting next beside it was the Yellow Label brand. It was $1 cheaper. The one can was $4.49, which I think so. Walter goes, they used to be 99 cents. Well, those days are long gone. We haven't seen 99-cent tomato juice in quite a while in the large can. The other one, the no-name one, is $1 less, $3.49. So I pick it up and read it. It says it's got 7 grams of sugar in it per cup. $4.49, 6 grams. The $3.49, 7 grams. Okay. Apparently a gram makes a difference, according to Walter. I'm thinking $1 makes a difference.
Tomatoes, because tomatoes naturally have sugar in them.
The point is, in this day and age of high food prices, aren't we all watching how much we spend on groceries? You know, because you need to take out a second mortgage.
Unless it comes to chocolate milk.
I buy Costco chocolate milk.
Yeah, you do, but it's more expensive than the grocery store stuff.
No, it's not.
When the grocery stuff's on sale,
which it never is.
It's on sale almost every week.
Costco's is $4.49 for 2 liters.
Well, you can get $4.99 for 4 liters at the grocery store.
But it's not the kind I like. Okay. I like chocolate milk, and I'm a connoisseur of chocolate milk. All right? It's simple as that. Not all chocolate milks are the same. So now he's making a big
deal that I wanted to buy a tin of tomato juice that was $1 more.
Anyways, we ended up with the no name, but he was huffy all the way up to the checkout about it. And I said, fine, get the $4.49 one. No, we can't just eat Kraft dinner every night anymore because that's off the list. So, yeah, anything you like is off the list.
I don't know. I like everything I eat. You just want stuff that I don't want to eat.
He made this, and he called it pudding. I call it pablum that he made. Chai seed. Gruel. Gruel is another name for it. And you put a little flavoring in it. You put in what? Cinnamon?
Yeah, I didn't put enough cinnamon in it.
Yeah, I don't think even a whole bottle of cinnamon was going to change the taste of it. He ate it all himself. I tried a spoonful and went, I think not.
I added a little bit more sugar. I added a little more fake sugar, but...
Oh, after the fact. Didn't tell me about that. Fake sugar. Yeah, the stuff that makes you go...
No, it doesn't. Potty. Only if you eat a lot of it.
So, then to add insult to injury, or injury to insult, whatever way that goes, he says, maybe next time I'll make it with chocolate milk. If that was going to make it better.
I can't do that because it's got sugar in it.
Oh, thank God my chocolate milk is saved. I said, you're not going into my supply of chocolate and making this stupid chai pudding, whatever, with it. So, yeah. But Russ, when we came home from the Quilt of Valor Sew Day, more about that later, we did stop at your favorite place, Chick-fil-A. But we had the Cobb salad. We always get the Cobb salad there with the spicy chicken strips. Apparently, that's okay for Walter.
Well, it isn't. The spicy chicken strips, of course. But I'll do the salad offsets it.
I do like their Cobb salad with the spicy chicken strips. I do like that. And what I like even more is, and I don't give a shit how much fat's in it or sugar's in it or carbohydrates, they're milkshakes. I got a chocolate shake and I love them. And every time I go to Chick-fil-A, I will have a chocolate shake or whatever other flavor they might have of the month. So far, they only have vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate. So, yeah. But back to talking about
the Costco brand is Beatrice, whereas the brand at
Seal Test, I think.
Oh no,
Nestle. It's
Seal Test. Is it Seal Test or Beatrice?
No, it's Beatrice at Costco. It's Seal Test in the
No, it's Nielsen's or whatever.
Or it's Nielsen's, whatever. Yeah. Anyways, I like the Beatrice. It's creamier, more chocolatey. Yep. Anyway,
it's fresher actually.
see, it's worth the money. But the difference between 1 gram as opposed to $1, I think the dollar should have won.
Okay,
Well, it did
whatever.
win. But anyway, so Walter was talking about fat pigs sitting around here. Well, I have not weighed myself in a long, long time. I think I was pretty much topping, if not a little bit over 200 pounds. I am very proud to say. How much did you weigh? You weighed yourself.
Well, the last time I weighed myself, I was 185. So.
I was 178 today. Yes.
But I was 210 when I started, so.
Yeah, but the point is, I'm still not as heavy as you. And I'm sure.
Yeah, but I'm taller.
Yeah, I knew you were going to go that route. I knew there would be an excuse. Oh, but I'm taller.
You're 5'6", or 7 or what?
Yeah, well, if I put on my heels, I'll be as tall as you. So whatever. Anyways, see, a few more people have come in while we were having this little heated debate here about $1 and grams. Did we say hello to Judy? I don't know if we did. Maybe we did. If we did, great. If we didn't, we are now. Linda's here. Teresa. And, Cozy Hermitage Craft Cottages, John. Okay. I hope I can remember that. Branca is here. Teresa says, just as the driver controls the radio, the cook controls the supper. Yeah, whatever. You try to eat with them. Dubrovka is here from Timmins. Ingrid's here. Hi, Ingrid. Barb is here. Landa. Philippa's here. Hi, Philippa. Teresa says, I agree. All chocolate milk is not equal. That's right. Stephanie's here. There's Stephanie. Yeah, Barb says, don't waste chocolate milk. Exactly. Dana's here. Hi, Dana. Jackie says, my granddaughters won't drink name brand chocolate milk, only Walmart brand.
However, Walmart brand has to get somebody to make it for them.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had Walmart brand chocolate milk.
I don't think they sell it here.
Oh, maybe not. Charlotte is here. M's here. Hi, Em. And Angel's here. Hi, Angel. Mona says she's mostly lurking. Landa says you have to pay to have sugar taken out. Yeah, that's very true. Apparently, that's how they get you. Okay, Melissa's here. Hi, Melissa. Nadine is here. Bonjour, Nadine. Angel says whole milk chocolate milk only. Well, the stuff I get is not whole milk.
It's 2%.
It's 2%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2%. That's the only type of chocolate milk I think you can get here. I don't think you can get whole milk.
No, I don't think you can get whole milk. Well, you might if you go to one of those really specialty stores, like that Italian place we went to in Toronto, and they had milk in bottles.
Yeah.
You know, and
you
that
have to pay like
it was something like $8 or something for a pint or whatever. Kim's here. Hi, Kim. So anyways, yeah, that's our food thing, but the diet is working. We're getting a little skinnier, but we're never going to be as our weight that we were in our 20s.
I'm losing it more to get control of my sugar, so that's why.
Yeah. Fine. Feel guilty every time. And what he does though, okay, what he does is, so he goes out the other day got his hair cut. B is not long enough yet. And he went to the Dutch store. Of course, the Dutch store has Dutch licorice, which is why he goes to the Dutch store. How much sugar's in Dutch licorice?
I got the sugar-free brand.
Oh, yeah. But, he brings me home 4 squares.
Yeah, well, you like 8 squares.
Yeah, I do. But and then the other day you're off to the thing and you got yourself some of your little no sugar added, sugar-free chocolate, and you bring home a Cadbury's fruit and nut for me. You see, he won't let me eat his chocolate.
No, you can have my chocolate. It just tastes like wax, so.
This is what
Actually, the best sugar-free chocolate is the Lindt. But it's hard to get, and it's expensive.
Yeah. What? Expensive like,
$8 for a chocolate bar.
or, oh, so, and how much is the one that you buy? How
It
much?
was $2.50.
Oh, but the one that tastes better and has less sugar was
No, it
more.
has. They both have the same amount
Well,
of
I'm
sugar.
just thinking, is that the same as tinned tomato juice? And whatever. I'm sure
Anyway,
you won't agree with me.
so
Anyways, moving on. What have we been working on? Well, I'll talk about this in more detail on the Idiot Quilter episode this week. But here you go. This is Stephanie Stitch's pattern called Whirling Wonders. And I think it turned out really nice. I really like this. And although this is not my usual kind of color scheme or print scheme, because this is kind of what, I would call this old lady fabrics, it just, I think it goes together nicely and it quilted well. Lucy was a very good girl. And this one I am keeping aside because I'm really seriously thinking it may be a candidate for me to enter into the spring fair we have in our area next June. I'm thinking. We'll see. But I'm happy with the way it turned out. And yeah, so more about that on Tuesday. And this is my trio of bags. They were all done in the hoop. And these are going to as a Christmas gift to our hairdresser. You saw the medium-sized bag. That's the one that holds it's my what I call my wine bag tote, but it was the same pattern, just minus one of the panels that's in the big tote. Now this the little pouch bag, I had some difficulties with it. I'm still up in the air whether I'm going to actually include that with the gifts.
can you remake it?
I could try to remake it. I just don't know. I'm a little frustrated. Well, it's not bad. It's just that when I put the zipper in and everything, and you do it in the hoop, and I've made the in the hoop pouches before with the zipper, but something went terribly wrong. And so I ended up doing the lining. It was the lining that was the problem. I ended up doing the lining in the way you normally do a lining without an embroidery machine. And then I had a little problem at one end, so I kind of covered up with adding a little strap on the side, but I don't know. I don't know. I may redo it and see if I can figure out what I did wrong the first time I made it. I'm just not 100% happy with that. I'm okay with the other two, but I'm not 100% happy with that. So that's what have you been up to? What have you made?
I just finished that shirt, and then I was teaching you how to do the shirt last week. So.
Yeah, and we're going to go to the shirt because I'm going to show you how we didn't really show it very well at the end of the session on Friday. So we're going to show you what am I talking about? Might as well show it to you now. I've got it right here. I put it on a hanger so you can see that it's looking like a shirt. So there we go. It hasn't been hemmed on the sleeves or the bottom, and it hasn't had the buttonholes put in the buttons. That's our next thing coming up. But I'm really happy with it. I think it's turning out nice. So yeah. And will I make another shirt after this experience? I'm not particularly sure about that. I mean, it's so much easier when you have Walter to do it for you.
Well, I'm used to doing it. So.
Yeah. But I have to say, now that I've been working on this, it's not as scary as I thought it was going to be.
I mean, if you know how to sew, it's not that difficult. It's just that you got to go through the steps of doing it.
Yeah.
And there are things that are a little bit tricky.
However, one of the things that drives me nuts is, if you're a quilter, we are always very concerned with precision. Exactly getting a good 1/4 inch seam allowance, a straight stitch, the whole bit. A few times I did sort of a little wonky on the stitching around it because there are curves and things like that. And I said, is this going to be a problem? He goes, now we'll just cut that off.
Well, you put when you cut your collar out,
I put a wow.
You put your rotary cutter slipped, and you put a little nick in one side of it. But it was less than 3/8 of an inch, so you end up you're doing a 3/8 inch seam, so it doesn't really matter that much.
So yeah, he keeps using the words. Well, it's about there, somewhere in between this and here. We'll just clip that off, and the whole thing, and you kind of think, oh, so
I mean, within a tolerance, you can take a little bit off. So
yeah, the expression for making shirts is, no one will ever see that. We call it quilting out.
yeah, but see, the thing is if you're making a quilt, you're making all these blocks, and all your blocks have to fit together, right?
Yeah.
Well, with a shirt, it's just pieces, and it has to wrap around your body, right? So if you take a little bit off, it's not going to matter that much, unless you've got skin tight fit, right?
It's a mindset, and it's one you have to get used to if you've never done garments before and all you've ever done is quilt, like me. So anyways, I'm happy with how it's turning out. I learned a few things.
Like you can't chop a whole huge chunk out of it, but you can skim a little off the edge.
Yeah, well, skim a little off. Yeah, I have learned how to use certain tools, like hams. Like how to use a ham. What's the ham for? So yeah, that's kind of a thing. And there's a lot of this easing in kind of going on.
Teresa says, have a look inside some of your store-bought closets and see all the oopsies in there.
Yeah, that's true. Probably is, too, with it, because, they rattle those things right off. Grant says, the latest fashion from the house of Stephen Walter. Yes, it is. It is a Wally, it's an S&W shirt. Yeah, Stephen Walter, S&W. Landis says, you two are a hoot. Yeah, while we're drinking. But anyway, so yeah, it's coming along. So next week we're going to get to the more of the finishing of it. I don't know if will we be actually finish the shirt? Well, can we do that? Probably.
We might be able to
Might be able to. We'll see. This week's was a little longer episode. It was almost an hour and a half, and I had debated whether to divide it into two parts, but there wasn't really a convenient spot for breaking it up. So I figured, no, we'll just leave it in its entirety there. So yeah, so if you saw it, good for you if you persevered to the end. And if you're thinking about watching it, you may want to have a snack with you and something to drink as you watch that. Okay, so what's coming up? Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. Okay, I have to say something about last Wednesday, because I know I probably shocked and I probably upset a few people. And it's also why I want to do what we're going to talk about later on in today's episode about the whole American election. Stephanie and I always have a little business meeting, we call it, before we get started with the sewing session. So it's just Stephanie and I on Zoom. And we decided, because it was the day after the election, that, emotions would be running high. And we decided we were not going to have any discussion or allow any discussion about the election. But some people wanted to talk about it. But I came on right at the beginning and said, look, we're not going to talk about it. I know you're probably upset about how things turned out, or maybe you're happy. I don't know which is going on, but this is a safe place. We try to keep drama out of it. So we usually, the standard rule is no politics, no religion. We always talk about weather during those sew days to keep things, on a nice, even, pleasant keel so people aren't feeling stressed out. And so, yeah, everything was going fine. But then we had other people join us a little later on, and they didn't know that I had said that. And I just felt that I could feel the vibe in the room where they were going to get into the discussion, innocently so, but they were going to get into the discussion. So I went into teacher mode. And I may have overreacted a little bit, but I basically told everybody there would be no discussion on that. And everybody respected that. I think a couple of people's feathers were ruffled over that. But I have to remind everybody, and I don't make an apology for this. I set up the Zoom, my sandbox, my rules. If you can't live by my rules, if something I say on my channel upsets you and you can't live with it, there's something you can do. Leave. I don't want you to leave, but if you feel that you must, then that you do you. Okay? You don't pay for this, not a cent. It costs you absolutely nothing. The sew days that I run cost you absolutely nothing, and I would really like you to keep that in mind. I don't owe anybody anything. I try to create something that's pleasant. But sometimes there are circumstances where things get a little tense. And I don't like that happening, but it does happen on occasion. I guess the bottom line is, if you have felt that you have been offended, it was not done by me on purpose. Suck it up. Just suck it up. Okay? Because the bottom line is this: it's not about you. And it's not about me. It's about all of us together. Okay? So, I want to say that now because what we're going to talk about soon is going to ruffle feathers. And it's going to get people upset. And if you're going to be upset and you don't want to listen to this, then you can disappear from it today. Okay? Or if you're watching it on the replay, you can turn it off. That's totally up to you, and that's in your control to do that. You do you. Okay? But we are going to talk about it from the point of view as Canadians, not from a point of view as Americans, because we're not American. We can't talk about it from the point of view of American. But before we get there, we have more pleasant things to talk about right now. And not necessarily that this discussion is going to be unpleasant. Okay? I just warn you, there could be triggers. You know? Sort of like those things you see on Netflix, you know. If you are suffering from, or you know someone who is suffering from blah, 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 call this number. We don't have a number. Okay. All right. So something that was on a really high note. We were invited to go to a Quilt of Valor sew day in a place called Trenton. Trenton is east of us by about an hour and a half. There's an Air Force base there, a Canadian Air Force base. And there's also the Canadian National Air Force Museum is there. And because we're so close to Remembrance Day, the Quilts of Valor group that meets, that's in the Trenton area, they were going to do 8 presentations of Quilts of Valor to vets. And they were invited special to come to the museum, and they did one every half hour on the half hour while we were there, which was kind of nice because it spread them out a little bit. And the museum was a great backdrop for these presentations because, I mean, you got full-size planes in this museum sitting there on display. It's we didn't walk around in the museum at all, but it might be worthwhile sometime going down and taking a look at it because I didn't know it existed really until now. But anyways, we went for this because we were invited because a quilt that I had donated almost a year and a half ago was being presented that day. And so Danielle Barnes, who is a coordinator of this, she invited Walter and I to join in the sew day. And on the sew day, they were also working on tops that for Quilts of Valor. And they had a basic design. They already had kits made up. You could work on your own or you could work with a partner. We chose to work together on it, and which was a good thing because we didn't get it done. I brought it home to finish it.
We were getting pretty close to getting it done. But
well, the thing was, we probably could have got it finished, but we had so many very nice people. The group was extremely nice. These ladies had never met us, although I did run into one person who's been on my pop-up sew days that lives down in that area as well, and she came and said hello and everything. And We talked with her, but we talked to a lot of the ladies there. They came up and they were interested in what we were doing and everything like that. They couldn't have been nicer. And I found that shocking. The experience that I had with a guild, okay? And those women in that guild were not nice. These ladies were absolutely wonderful. Just so friendly. And so I was like, we were overwhelmed with that. And,
And the veterans came around that were being presented quilts and talked to us and everything too. And they were very nice too.
Mm-hmm. And their families were there with them too, and they were coming around. I mean, I think we were a little bit of a novelty for the non-quilters because we were men. And so they were curious about, and of course we were wearing Walter shirts as well. And that always draws some attention. And when they find out that Walter makes them and that, they get even more excited by it. But some beautiful quilts were definitely presented during the day. But what was really interesting is when you go to this kind of a presentation, your quilt means so much more to those veterans, and you could see it in their faces, and it's very emotional for everybody there as well. But and the vets, they would come over and they'd thank you for making quilts for the Quilts of Valor and stuff. What do you say to that? And I was saying no, really, we're thanking you because what we do is not on the same scale as what you went through. Because one of the requirements to get a Quilt of Valor is you had to see active action. You weren't somebody that was just sitting behind a desk. You had to be in active action.
And you also had to have had an injury of some sort as well. And injury could also be a mental injury, like PTSD or something like that.
So, it's and you could see it in their faces. They were just overwhelmed when they got their quilt. And in the ceremony, what they do, which I think is a really nice touch, there is a blurb that Danielle kind of reads that thanks them for their service and explains things. It was very difficult, and you're going to find out, because I'm going to play you a little clip video here in a moment. It was very difficult to hear her for a couple of reasons. One, she is not a loud speaker. She's very soft-spoken. And the environment, very, very high ceilings. It's a massive space, and sound just disappeared in there with it, which was too bad. But I tried to enhance it. I did video clips, and I've put them all together, and I'm going to show them on my episode of Idiot Quilter this week. But you will see a little disclaimer will come up and say I tried my best to make the sound so you could hear it. And you can if you listen really closely, but it is difficult. But anyways, the recipient of my quilt, of course, was there. Now, he did not know that the quilt he was getting had been made by me. He hadn't seen the quilt yet or anything, but Danielle told me this is a person who was a friend of hers, and she nominated him for the quilt. And she said she knew a year and a half ago, once he agreed for the nomination, it had been cleared and everything, she knew she was going to give him my quilt. But she told a story about my quilt, which I'm trying not to choke up. Yeah. I think the best thing to do is just show you the video clip. Now, I hope the sound comes across on here okay. I'm just going to get it set up. And let me put it up here. And there it is. Okay, I hope you'll be able to hear this. I'll monitor and see. Okay, come on. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong spot. Okay, here we go.
I have something else to say about this quilt because I've had this quilt for a year now.
Year and a half.
A year and a half. And you're requesting the 31st. of July 2022. But it's not like geographically. Stan should be went to the Hampton Web, and I got it because he is a friend. We love this quilt, and Stephen made the quilt. And the quilt has had quite a journey. It has literally been everywhere. Leslie and I have traveled representing Quilts of Valor. It has been to Air Show in Trenton this past summer. It's been to Buckhorn. It's been, I don't even remember the other places, but it's been around. So it's very soft. It's been to car shows, and if anybody remembers the Air Show, the Saturday, I don't know if everyone was there, but it was on food, so it had a little mist on it. It had a little bit of mist on it. It's a little. The quilt evokes different emotions for different people. At the Air Show, there was a gentleman standing in front of that quilt and just crying. He stood there for 5 minutes and just cried. So anyways, I'm filling it up. I hope you'll take it.
Yeah, after that.
Yeah, after that. But anyways, for the official words, stand on behalf of Quilts of Valor Society in recognition of 24 years of service, but most importantly, in recognition of your sacrifice for Canada and it is a privilege to honor. Although we don't know the depth of your sacrifice to protect our freedom, we wish to thank you, and as a gesture of gratitude, from a very grateful Canada represented here, we present you this quilt back. Thank you.
All right.
Peace.
It's good because I forget what it looks like too.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
If you don't like it, I'll make you a new one.
I'd like it.
So, Joe, I think we'll hold it if you can still.
Well, actually, I do have I have some people that have offered to fill in as my family.
That's nice. Family, no matter where you go.
I can see sister wives coming.
Yeah.
Okay. And Steve, we'll be getting a picture. I believe you made it.
Should be there.
Well, here, Walter, you got it.
We go.
Oh,
Here. You got it?
okay.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yes. No wonder the man I can see.
It's the panel. It came as a panel, right? But they designed the part.
Yeah. That's really great.
Okay, so that was the last presentation of the day. And yeah, the other quilts were gorgeous too that people had made for this. And as I said, it was a very emotional moment for me too. So anyways, I'm going to make more Quilts of Valor. And it just makes it so much more special now that I see what they actually do with them. And you see the reaction you get from the recipient and the whole bit. It makes it worthwhile to do it. So yeah, but the whole video of the day will be up on the Idiot Quilter on Tuesday for you to see. With that, so I've got shots of some of the other people's that were recipients and some of the ladies and everything in the environment we were sewing in. And like I said, we had a really great day, and we're looking. I sent Danielle a thank you note for inviting us this morning to her and all the hard work she and there's another lady that works with her, Leslie, as well. And they're so well organized in there because we didn't know what to expect when we got in there, you know, kind of a thing. We thought, oh, this might be, you know, kind of, oh, no one knowing what they're doing, you know, like herding cats kind of a thing. But it wasn't. Exact opposite. Couldn't have been a better day. So we had a good time there. Okay, so I see a few people have come in since the video was playing. So let's just make sure that
Okay, the oopsies are there. So Philippa and then
Faith, I say hi to Faith. Yeah, I think I did. Jean E is here. I think I said hello to Judy and Barb and Charlotte. I did. Dubravka. And yeah, I think I've said hello to everybody here. Jackie says her uncle was presented with the Quilt of Valor in Oshawa last year. Okay. Yeah, they do them in different spots. And the reason that I donated my quilts to the Trenton branch is because we do the closest Quilt of Valor branch is in Toronto for us. We don't have one in our immediate area. And so that's why I did it through there, that branch of it. So anyways, yeah, that was what we did yesterday. Now, on another note, and I'm just going to put this up again. You've already seen it, but I want to explain a couple of things here. And this is the Hope Air, my quilt for it. I have to laugh at the way they said this. It said, enter your chance to win. One unique quilt made by renowned quilter and YouTuber Stephen Bland. I kind of question the use of the word renowned. Not, I mean, it kind of puts me on a pedestal that, you know. But anyways, I did send out an email to everybody on the mailing list, and I've told you before that I don't usually, I never do. The only time I send you anything from on the mailing list is for Pop-Up Sew Day, and that's it. I had two people who I think took offense, that were offended by the fact that I basically advertised what's going on with this and wanted me to remove them from the mailing list. Okay, that's fine. I did. I don't want anybody to think that I'm expecting, because you're on my mailing list or because you're a subscriber to my channel or you come to the sew days I have, that you are obligated to buy a ticket for this. No, furthest thing from my mind. That's totally up to you. I don't have any way of knowing who's bought tickets and who hasn't bought tickets at all. I'm hoping that they do make a significant amount of money on this. They have never done something like this before either, at least with a quilt. I don't know if they've done raffles before on other things or whatnot. But the reason they got this quilt that I'm having them, and this is a Stephanie Stitches design, by the way, is because I had a subscriber reach out to me and made a suggestion that I look into this. I never thought in 1,000 years that they were going to take it and raffle it. My idea was I donate a quilt, somebody who's being transported to a hospital for serious treatments or surgery or something like that. This would keep them warm in the plane, and, you know, they'd have this while they're in the hospital as well. That was my intent. It wasn't to, you know, make money. And I didn't think about it, but I'm a little concerned about the way that it's worded, the Idiot Quilter Charity Raffle. It isn't my raffle. It's Hope Air's raffle. All I'm doing is donating the quilt. That's it. 100% of the proceeds will go to Hope Air. I don't get anything from this at all. So I guess I should have maybe questioned that when it first came up, but I think I was a little overwhelmed with the whole thing that they were doing this with it and didn't think of that. The other thing that I did write an email to them today about that I'm a little concerned about is on their main web page, there is no mention of this raffle at all. So in my mind, how are people going to find out about it? I mean, we said we would promote it. And when I say we, I mean Glenn, as in Glenn's and Friends Cooking, because he is a volunteer. He is a pilot. He has his own little plane, and he is involved with them in transporting people for their care and everything as well. And he said he was going to promote it on his channel, and I said I would promote it on mine. But he has a lot more subscribers than I have, so it may go a little further. But how's anybody else going to know about it? And so I'm waiting to hear what they have to say about that. It's either that or I missed where there might be a link, but I looked high and low on their main webpage and didn't find anything. So, I think they should have a link to it because, as I said to them in the email, isn't the whole idea just to sell lots of these tickets to make, a sizable amount of money for it? And if you're just depending on what Glenn does and I do, in my way of thinking, that's not going to reach that far. So we'll see. But anyways, I want to say if anybody felt that I was taking advantage of them on the mailing list or that I am putting unfair pressure, I'm not. It is totally up to you. The opportunity is there if you wish. But if you don't, I mean, there's lots of people want your money, right? So, you probably have a certain amount of money maybe budgeted out for charities in a year, and this is not one, or this may be one that you aren't as interested in, and that is perfectly all right. The theme today is you do you. So anyways, I just wanted to clarify that because it did disturb me a little bit that only two people, but seem to have taken offense to the fact that I sent this out. Now, you can make some of the people happy some of the time, kind of a thing. Okay, let's go back here to what people are saying. Well, Barb, I'm not that humble. It depends. If you get to know me, I'm probably an arrogant pig. But who knows? Betty's here. Hi, Betty. Philip says, well, I forgot how gorgeous the quilt was. Amazing. I had no recollection until I saw the quilt. I could not remember which quilt I had given to them. I donated 2 more quilts, actually, that you have seen on the channel to them as well. I was a little concerned because one of them was a little under their minimum requirements for size, and I told Danielle that, and she said, nope, we'll take it. So, yeah, I said to her, I won't be offended if it doesn't fit. It's my bad because I designed it myself. I thought I had the measurements. I thought my end measurements were going to be right, but quilt math hard. But it was not that much under, but it was under. So, yeah. But she took the 2 quilts anyways. Well, the other one was fine. There wasn't any problem with that. Let's see. Barb says, hopefully Hope Air will advertise on their main page. I looked as well and didn't see it either. Yeah, so I don't know if that's just a little oversight on their part because unless, I published the link and it's in the show notes for everything up until the day that it gets drawn. That link is there. But there's a lot more people out in the world than subscribe to my channel. Not everybody's subscribed. I don't know why that is, but they're not. They're not. So it would seem to me you need to have it on you need to get the word out there about this kind of thing if you want to make money. And they do. And they need it. And it says, keep talking about a great quilt for a good cause. I donated and got backlash from people who didn't let it, but didn't let it bother me. Well, it doesn't really bother me that much. It's only 2 people I have a mailing list of 230 people. So they may have issues for other things, but I just thought one was passive aggressive. Please take me off your mailing list. I love your channel. Okay. Fine. Oh, and the other one was, yeah, I'm not interested in this whatsoever. I'm too busy at work. Take me off your mailing list. Didn't know this was going to affect your work, but whatever. I'm sure there was more in her head than came out about it, but yeah, that's life. But it did make me think, do people think I'm trying to browbeat them, like as if I could, to buy tickets for this? I'm not. I'm not. Okay, it is what it is. The opportunity's there. If you want to take advantage of it, by all means. If you don't, that's okay. I won't hate you because I won't even know. So there you go. Marge Jan is here, and she says, one thing I would question is if they had a license for that raffle. In Alberta, we need a license to have a quilt raffle for charity donations. Oh, I'm pretty sure they do. They are a national organization.
Yeah, they're fairly big organizations.
Yeah, their head office is in Toronto and out in BC as well.
So I'm sure they know what the rules are.
Yeah. Barb says, I'm not American.
I don't know where
that come from, Barb. I didn't say you were American. I know you're Canadian. So, okay. There must be more to that too. Collins, thank you for the email concerning the Hope Air raffle. I got 2 tickets, so I hope I win. It's a great charity. Well, thank you, Colleen, for supporting Hope Air. On their behalf, I'll say thank you. Yeah, Inez says they think you're getting money. I think maybe some people thought that. And I mean, that's why I mentioned what they wrote in up at the top. It sounds like it's my raffle. It isn't my raffle. It's Hope Air. The quilt is mine. I donated it for them to do whatever they want to do with it. So, thanks, Stephanie. So anyways, I just want to clarify that. Okay, so other things. We are feeling like pincushions. We got our flu shot this week. No reactions. Everything was fine. So the next shot we're going to get, we're on a roll here, people. We've had our COVID shot. Now we've had the flu shot, and now we're looking into the RSV shot. We asked our doctor when we were there. She said, you're not really in the high risk group because you're not suffering from, any respiratory diseases. Your health is good, blah, blah, blah. And actually, it was a bit of a compliment. When we went in to get the flu shot with her, she said, okay, there's a different flu shot for people over 65. It's a stronger flu shot, kind of a thing. And we wanted that one. But she says, so now you're not over 65, are you? Yet. We looked at her and go, oh, yes, we are. She went, oh, you don't look it. And I said, moisturizer. The key is moisturizer. So, yeah. I think she lumped you into that too. I don't know why. But.
Well, I'm closer to 65 than you are.
You're over it. You're over it.
Yeah, well, I'm still closer to 65.
Yeah, like 6 months. 6 months. He makes it sound like it's decades. It's not. But anyways, so we asked her about the RSVP. So she did write us out a prescription, but here in Ontario, our Ontario government does not cover this shot. They cover the flu shots, they cover the booster for COVID, a whole bunch of other shots, but they don't cover that. And it's quite, what did you find out about it?
Between $250 and $300 or something like this for the shot. But we have a private drug plan, so my drug plan will cover 90% of it. So
yeah. So anyways, we're going to go not next week, the week after, because they like you, as Walter reminded me earlier today during the domestic, or before the domestic, I don't know, several potentials for domestics today. They don't like to give you another shot until the other shot you've had for 2 weeks, like 2-week intervals between them. Although they've been given COVID and flu shots at the same time, like to individuals. So anyways, and we got company coming on the weekend, so we don't want to take a chance of having a negative reaction to the RSV shot, since we've never had one of those before. And we just figure, okay, the insurance plan's going to cover, it's going to cost us only about $35. with our other insurance plan that we have. So maybe we should get it, because you're hearing about a lot of people, well, kids especially, seem to be getting it right now.
Well, I talked to somebody last year that said that they had RSV, and they said, well, whatever you do, get your shot. They said it was the worst sickness they had ever had, even worse than COVID. So.
Well, she told us, our doctor told us too, that she has had one client or one patient or something. I think it was her patient.
She had her daughter.
Her daughter. That's right, her daughter.
She ended up taking her to the hospital, and she says it was close call.
Yeah, it was a close call. So I guess if your doctor's telling you that, then, and I mean, I've complained about my doctor before that she's a pill pusher, but she's had firsthand experience with this and that, so I am trusting her judgment.
She said that with RSV, your lungs get really filled up with fluid or whatever, and it's deep inside your lungs. So
yeah, so we're going to go for it. So it'll be all nice and healthy when we get down to Dahlonega at the end of December. Yeah, we're there. We want to be there for a good time, not to.
Landa says RSV is ugly, not fun at all.
Yeah. Tracy asks, how often do you need the RSV shot? Well, we did ask her this, and she said it's good for about 2 years.
Yeah.
So I guess every other year you've got to get it, which is maybe eventually our Ontario government will start covering it if enough people are getting it and whatnot. But then again, you never know with our Ontario government because they suck. So Colleen got one, she says. And Barb says she checked their Facebook page and there's no mention of the raffle either. Yeah, somebody's dropping the ball here. And I didn't even know they had a Facebook page. But that would be the place to advertise it, because that has a wider circulation, I would think. Marjan says, well, now that you're a renowned quilter, what's next for you? Are you doing these guild presentations?
As a matter of fact,
a lady was at the quilt day that we were at, the Quilts of Valor, and she walked up to me and she said, introduced herself. I had been corresponding with her via email, but anyways, and it was so difficult to hear when people were talking to you in the place because things were echoing off the walls. So I don't know. At first, I didn't understand what she was talking about. Then I put two and two together and I figured it out. She was talking. She says, oh, we're looking so forward to you coming to the guild and speaking and all that kind of stuff. And oh, pressure. I said, yeah, well, I said, I'll be in touch with you to let you know what I'm going to talk about, because I'll be honest, I have an idea, but I haven't got it fully developed yet. And she's telling me about the facility and about setup time if I needed that how to do all that and whatnot, and seemed to be really excited that I was coming to this. Oh, no pressure, right? I mean, yeah. So now I've got to really, well, I was going to anyways, because I am a person who plans. I just wouldn't walk into something like this and do it off the cuff. But I also don't want to waste their time. So, and I asked her too, because I think originally she was talking 20 minutes. And I said, 20 minutes? And the lady standing next to her goes, 20 minutes? No, she's at our guild. Usually the speakers have about 45 minutes to an hour on that. I said, I won't take an hour. But I said 40 to 45 minutes is very usable. She says, yeah, just, people get restless. I says, I know, that's why. 45 minutes is the cutoff before you start getting people, pulling out their hands, stitching and working on that and looking around for a cookie and a tea. So, yeah, I said, don't worry. I will not go over 45 minutes with that. So anyways, that was interesting. So yes, I am doing those in the new year. Thimble Hook and Shuttle's here. She's been watching Beautiful Quilt for the Veteran, and COVID is real. Yeah, we know. I recently had to escape from an assisted rehab facility. The entire place was in quarantine. Oh, geez. Yeah, well, COVID's a way of life now, isn't it? Landa has to run. Okay, see you later, Landa. All right, so let's get into it, shall we? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. And what we're talking about, of course, is the U.S. presidential election. How could we not talk about it? Because all we've heard about since the last year of campaigning has been, we've been overburdened with a whole lot of misinformation, good information, the media, clips of Trump doing stupid things, retaliation clips against from the Trump campaign against Kamala. You know, Kamala.
Kamala,
I know. Whatever. And it's just too much. It's just been too much. Everybody's just sick up to here with it. Now, you're going to say, well, Canadians, you know, it's not your election. You have nothing to worry about. I'd like to say that we have nothing to worry about, but we do. So we're going to talk a little bit about this, but we're going to talk about it from our point of view as Canadians. Yes, we are observers. We couldn't vote in your election, thank God. We have our own problems in this country with our politicians. Every country does. So let's put that on the table for a second. Let's talk about politicians. There is no such thing as a good politician, in my opinion. Okay? First of all, in order for you to enter politics, you have to have money behind you. Poor people don't run for prime minister or president because they can't afford it. So what you have already going against the general populace of any country is the rich are in control and are ruling. And what do the rich do best? The rich do look after their own self-interests best. They're there to make a buck. And they use politics to make a buck all the time. But they try to disguise the way they manipulate how they make money for themselves as if they're doing something good for the people. But we all know that during campaigns, politicians make promises. Those promises are never kept. We know that. It's a joke. It's a running joke. It has been since the beginning of time where there were people in the ruling class, basically. So, yeah. Is one politician better than another? Not really. It's the way they present themselves. But what's more important, it's not the way they present themselves, it's the way the media presents them. So, during this whole election process, oops, thumbs up there. Well, you can give me one of those if you wish. The whole way the whole campaign was run was not run by the politicians. It was run by the media. The media was shaping the opinion of people. Let's face it. All people, no matter who you are stupid and susceptible to information that may be correct or may not be correct. And the media knows that. And the media puts a spin on everything. So you've got the media that was in Trump's camp. So he was a god. He's the second coming of Christ. He's going to fix the 4 years of the Biden administration that made everything sky high. Let's talk about prices, because this was something that a lot of the average American on the street, if you watched any of those other programs, which are basically like Jimmy Kimmel, who's doing it for comedy's sake, they think that Biden is why prices are high. Prices were high before COVID. COVID escalated the prices, right?
Yeah, and they escalated it not just in the U.S., but in Canada. Yeah. And when we went to Australia, they were having the same problems that we were having with high grocery costs in Canada and high grocery costs in the U.S.
Yeah.
So it's a worldwide problem.
It wasn't caused by the Biden administration. It was already there. It's the nature of things. And as Walter said, it's a worldwide problem. It's not just isolated to the United States. We have it here in Canada as well. And we didn't have Biden in the administration. So, yeah. So that is a myth that was started by the Trump camp. Now, the media that were supporting the Democrats, their way of fighting the Trump camp was to show you teeny little bits of him in public and what came out of his mouth. Now, I'm not going to say that what comes out of that man's mouth, like that's all made up. It's not. He's crazy. There's no two ways about it. But he is not that much crazier than some of the other politicians that we hear from in the United States, like Tom Cruise, Mitch, what's his name? Mitch something.
McConnell.
And then what's her name? The woman that everything that comes over.
Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. Those are lunatics too. At least they sound like lunatics. Never met them personally with that. But the media focused, of course, on Trump because he's running for president. And they took everything on the Democratic side and just played it over and over again to show how stupid he is. But all politicians are stupid. Okay? Funny thing is, everybody is worried about what Trump's going to do now that he'll get into the highest office of the states. Not of the world. Of the states. I know this will be a crushing blow to some Americans who feel that they are the world. I mean, after all, don't you have baseball games called the World Series where it's only two teams from Canada and the US? It's not the world. It's not the world. Okay? You need to get over yourself a little bit. Okay? Not saying all Americans are like that, but enough of you. However, his administration will have an effect not just on the quality of life of Americans, depending on what he does, but it will flood over the border to Canada. Because whatever affects the United States has some repercussions, for us in Canada. We are not immune to it. Like I said, we have our crazies here too that buy into it. You want an example? January 6th insurrection on Capitol Hill. Well, we had truckers on Ottawa, on Parliament Hill, who felt that they were protected by the Fifth Amendment.
We don't have that.
We don't have
here.
a Fifth Amendment. That's American Constitution. That's not in ours. Yeah, like I said, we have some stupid people out there as well. The thing is, there must be some sane people. I don't believe that every person in a position of power in the United States is crazy. But you don't know who they are because they never come to the forefront. The media doesn't want to show you the sane people. They show you the crazies. Why? Because it makes you glued to your television, to your iPad, to your computer, and they can sell advertising. They make money from that. Mucho dollars from all of that. It's media education 101, really, on that. So, but nice guys, they're not going to show. Smart people, they're not going to show. If they do show someone that's smart, they show them in a derogatory context. They show how this person, going up against Trump, like someone like Pete Buttigieg. Buttigieg, whatever. He seems to be a very sane man. Yet, they like to portray him as the stupid gay guy.
Actually, they portray him fairly smart, so.
Give me an example.
Well, he does things on Fox News and stuff like that. That supposedly.
Yeah, but then they undercut it. The critics come in and say, that's what I mean. Yeah, they show him debating with them there, and he's a very good speaker, and he's very calm, and he's very collected. But then the after effect is all the things that get written up on blogs and things on the internet. If they're in the Trump camp, they unname him from the scene to the chops as being this idiot. The Democrats say, hey, he got Trump. But that's also part of all of this campaign. Have we heard policy from either politician? We've heard the promises. Trump's going to make America great again. He's going to line up all the illegal immigrants and send them back. Is he? How's that going to work out? How is he going to find them all? Is he going to walk into a town hall with 1,000 people in it, or less, like his rallies, and yell out to everybody, okay, if you're an illegal alien, would you please put up your hand? Yeah, that's not going to happen, is it? He's going to end the war in the Middle East, and he's going to end the Russian-Ukrainian conflict war too. How? How is he going to do that? The United Nations has been trying to do that since day one. They're not having a lot of luck with it, especially in the Middle East. So how is Trump going to do that? So, but on the other side, what policies did she have? Her policies were she wasn't going to let lunatics like Trump take control. How's that working out for you, sweetie? A little late now, isn't it? So I didn't hear any policy.
No, it was about reproductive rights for women, and she was going to lower the grocery prices.
And how was she going to do that? I mean, okay.
She said they were going to get a code of conduct, just like Canada.
Oh, we have a code of conduct for the grocery prices here in Canada. Yes. Guess what? $4.49 for the PC Blue tomato juice. $3.49 for the no-name yellow label tomato juice. Tomato juice used to be 99 cents a can.
$4.99 for the brand name Heinz tomato juice.
Green peppers the other day, we went into the grocery store and just about shit our pants. Green pepper, $4.99 a pound. Okay, I really miss our green peppers this time of the year. We got to get them under the grow light. Well, we have some under the grow lights, but they'll take a while. But that's what I mean. Yeah, code of conduct, not worth the paper. It's sort of, but that's smoke and mirrors to make the general public think that the government's doing something for them. And all governments do this, not just the American government, our Canadian government, and I'm sure the governments in other countries too.
Yeah, they had the same problem in Australia when we were in Australia earlier this year. But they already had a code of conduct.
Yeah.
But that wasn't working for them either. So they had all the heads of the grocery stores that they were talking to, trying to figure out how to lower prices.
Yeah. But the point here is neither politician has a concrete platform that they have pie in the sky. Oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that and that. And that's what our politicians do in Canada too. It's no different. Now, Trump's biggie when it comes to the financial community is tariffs. I don't think he even knows what a tariff is, but he's going to put all these tariffs on Chinese manufacturers and other people that have that, instead of American-made products, they're all out there overseas and everything. He's going to put all these tariffs on them to bring business back to American businesses to make things on American home soil. That's not going to happen. So what you were saying on something you saw, somebody on the street was being interviewed about tariffs, and he had his t-shirt business.
Yeah, and he said, somebody said to him, well, where do you source your t-shirts from? And he said, China. And they said, okay, but do you realize that when they put a tariff on your Chinese goods, that you're going to have to pay more for your t-shirts? And he said, no, China's going to have to pay more for the t-shirts. Well, that's not true. You will have to pay more for the t-shirts. Any product that gets the tariff on it, you will have to pay more for. In fact, that's why I discovered that we were wondering why Janome sewing machines were so much more expensive in the U.S. than they are in Canada. And I looked up, I did some research that there was a tariff existing on sewing machines, so coming in from to the U.S. And that's one of the reasons sewing machines are so much more expensive in the U.S.
Yeah. And these businesses, sure, you can slap a tariff on them. What's the business going to do? Well, it's business 101. If you have to pay more for the product you are selling in order to maximize your profit, you need to pass on that increase to the consumer. So didn't the guy didn't he say to him, so your t-shirts, are you willing to?
Yeah, so if you got a tariff on your T-shirt, and your T-shirts, you originally pay $10 for them. If they have a 50% tariff on them, you may have to pay $15 when it comes in. So are you still going to sell your T-shirt for the same price as you did
Yeah,
before?
and lose
And
that
the guy
money.
said, no, I'm going to have to make my T-shirts more expensive. So
Yeah. And so, there's a price point. Some people that wouldn't bat an eye when the price goes up. Other people will go, nope, that's out of my
in fact, tariffs were
budget.
the contributor to a lot of tariffs were put on goods in the late 1920s in U.S. by a politician, and that is part of why the American public went into
The depression.
the Depression.
Yeah.
That wasn't just tariffs, but there were other things in play, but that was part of it. So I have my doubts that tariffs will actually really appear.
Yeah. So, but the common person who doesn't understand business and this kind of thing, they think that Trump, by doing this, they're going to have more money in their pocket. Prices are going to come down. Prices never go down. Never. Once a price is established, we have been trained to just suck it up and accept that price, and away we go. We bitch, we complain about it, yes, but we still pay it.
However, if they do give tax breaks to big corporations and stuff like that, the big corporations will make more money. So if you have stocks or you have, mutual funds or stuff like that, you may get more money from that because your stocks will go up in value.
Yeah. So, again, the rich get richer. And that's what it's all about. From any politician. It doesn't matter whether it's Trump, Kamala, or the politicians here in our own country. It's always the same scenario. So people are upset, okay? Because we're unsure of the future. And anytime we don't know what to expect, we have the fear of the unknown. To the point where they did a thing. They checked the internet, and I guess people doing searches for how do I move to Canada have increased by something like 800% or something more since the election in the States. Sorry, we have our own immigrant problem right now that our government is having trouble handling. We're not taking any more. So you're stuck in there. But here's the other thing. He's talking about these illegal immigrants and getting them out. Well, they've already started to prepare here in Canada, the border guards and everything, for a possible, if he does it, he hasn't done it yet because he's not in power yet. If something like that happens and we suddenly get a whole lot of illegal aliens trying to get into our country, they've got a contingency plan, supposedly, for this. It isn't that Canada doesn't welcome refugees. The problem we have right now is we've done that for a little bit too much, and it's having some negative effects on our society. So the government is trying to rein it in a little bit, or so they tell us. We'll see. And also, we have the world's largest undefended border. It's not just a question of driving to Niagara Falls and crossing over. There are little border crossings in little 2-bit towns.
Yeah, there are actually towns that are split by the border. So you've got an American side to the town and they have a Canadian side to the town. And there are other areas that are wilderness that are easy crossing points. So refugees have gone, last time there was a Trump administration, refugees were coming across the border from the U.S. Into Canada, and they were going through the less known areas. And there were a few that actually in the middle of the winter froze to death trying to get across.
Yeah.
So
so one of the contingency plans here, or the reason they're having contingency plans with the crossing borders and watching those ones, they're watching those particular borders in particular because people die trying to get in. Another thing that's really interesting and which is creating fear, and this comes from the media, there has been 1,000 or 2,000% increase in the number of people buying one particular Canadian book by one particular Canadian author. And you probably know what the book is because there's been a television series with this. It's been very popular. And it's like, okay, ladies, how do you look in red and white? And I don't mean the colors of the Canadian flag. And that's The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood, which basically she wrote in the 1980s. And if you've never read the book, you should. We teach it in school, in many Canadian classrooms as well. I have taught it for years as well. And the thing is, it shows what would happen in a world that is governed by the extreme Christian conservative right, or what would happen in the States. And there's a lot of parallels. Even though she wrote that in the 1980s during the Reagan years, you read it now, and it is kind of prophetic. And many novels do tend to be prophetic, especially science fiction style novels. So, how do you feel about a red dress and a white hat and keeping your eyes down and being used as breeding stock? Okay, especially now that, in a lot of spots in the United States, abortion is illegal. And I mean, I'm not saying abortion is a good thing, but a woman owns her body. Nobody else can make a decision for a woman about that. That is solely a woman, and that's really what it's about. It's not about the right to life and that. It's about a woman being in control of herself. And isn't that a human right in the big scheme of things? Shouldn't we all be allowed to manage our own destinies, to manage what's right for us? Apparently, some people don't feel that women can do that. And those some people are men. So, let's put back women's rights 100 years. There's even been talk about stopping women from voting. I mean, invest in balls and chains, okay? Because they're going to go out the roof. Now, all of this is scare tactics from the media. How does the media know what's going to happen? How do we know, as consumers of media, how do we know what's right and what isn't right? We don't. We honestly don't. Nobody does. The media does lie. One thing I agree with Trump. Fake news. All news is fake on the level of it's spinning. That's what they call spinning, where you take a basic fact or a basic truth and you manipulate it in such a way for whatever purposes to make somebody think that what you are telling really is the god-awful truth on it. Again, basic media studies in high school with this kind of thing. And the thing is, we don't know anymore. How much of what we're hearing is based in fact and how much is not, because the media knows how to make it sound like it's impartial. They're impartial and it's the fact. Well, they're not impartial. One only needs to watch Fox to figure that one out with that. So they have us all petrified, Americans and Canadians, because we're afraid you're all going to jump the boat and try to get in. Our borders are going to be overrun. You'll be banging on the windows and the doors. Let us in, let us in, let us in, let us in. And we'll all be standing on the border with our guns up, blasting you away. Yeah, no, we'd just be going, sorry, can't come in. Sorry. Here's some old dressed potato chips and a coupon to Tim Hortons for a double. Okay? Because that's just the way we are in Canada. I think it's this way. We need to get a control of ourselves. We got to get a control of our emotions. First of all, let's deal in fact. On whatever day it is in January, Trump will become the President of the United States legally. Okay? Can't do anything about that now. The people have spoken. He won. Whether you like that result or not doesn't really matter. The point is moot. The election is over. He's going to be in. 2, he has said a lot of things, but he hasn't done them yet. We have to believe that there are cooler heads, smarter people that exist in the government, not just the ones we see on TV spewing forth stupidity. Okay? And they're the people that we need to have some faith in that they will do the right thing. You also have laws. He cannot go in and change the laws willy-nilly. Will he try? Maybe. But he can't, because there is checks and balances in place in the American government that won't allow for that. So what are we worried about? He may make certain things uncomfortable. He has to go up against the rest of the world. Now, that might be scary because, there's Putin, and he's a nut job as well, right? But the thing is, we have certain institutions in place like the UN, like the NATO. There's a whole lot of other ones out there. And then we have people, okay? Not all Americans are a bunch of hicks who think that there's snow in Canada 12 months of the year and who, I can't even spell tariff, let alone know what it is, or kind of a thing. No. And there's probably a lot of very smart people. But again, you don't hear about the smart people in the media. Okay? Because it doesn't sell news. It doesn't sell advertising. So those people will rise up. And it may be rough, but not all is lost out of it. I will say, I'm glad I'm Canadian right now. I wish we had a wall. Actually, I've always said a great big dome over the entire United States to suck all the oxygen out and make it a green belt afterwards. There'd be a lot of bodies for fertilizer. I'm joking. It's just my weird sense of humor. But, and if you haven't figured that one out yet, what are you doing here? But anyways, that's it. So I think we need to get a grip on our emotions. I think we need to take a breath and just sit and wait. Watch. We'll deal with it when we have to deal with it, if it needs to be dealt with. He's not going to be in there for a lifetime. Yes, I know he's talked about there'll never be another election in the United States, and some people have interpreted that as he's going to be a dictator. Well, dictators do exist, but it's not that easy to be a dictator. You just don't snap your fingers when you go, hello, no more democracy. Oh, and one thing about democracy, because that word gets thrown around a lot during this election, that America defends democracy and all this stuff. Democracy is a concept. It's not a reality. All you have to do is look at the American voting procedure. And that tells you right there, there's no democracy. Democracy in its simplest form means every individual has certain inalienable rights to truth, justice, freedom. Oh, where did that come from? Let me think. Oh, the American Constitution. So, that does exist still. And it's hard to change the American Constitution. So, because people have tried. So there's no, don't lose sleep. Don't bother yourself with getting upset over that which has not yet happened. Because we don't know what's going to happen. So, c'est la vie. Take it one day at a time and you'll be fine. But you're not getting into our country. Just saying. You wouldn't be able to afford our house prices anyways.
That's for sure.
Oh, God. We can't afford the house prices. So, yeah. we laugh when we see the price of a house in the United States that's about,
Well, let's move there. It's cheap.
yeah, we could buy 3 of them for what our house is worth right now. So yeah, and we're not rich, not even close.
We're in an average.
We're in an average
Maybe
house.
a little bit bigger than average house, but
I don't even know if it's that anymore. No. So don't worry, be happy, as they say. Well, okay. So let's just finish up here with what people are saying. Teresa says you definitely have enough quilts to put on a trunk show at the Guild. Very true. Jen says in the U.S., RSV can be gotten for adults over 75 or those that have chronic disease like diabetes, CHF, cancer, autoimmune disease, and cardiac.
well, I think there is a thing that says if you have a chronic condition, you can get it.
Yeah, here, yeah. I find it funny that in America we'd be talking about a healthcare system and suggesting that ours is inferior through that.
Yeah, like
but
our doctor did say if you have a chronic disease, then you can get the shot covered by the government.
Yeah.
So.
Carol says even if tariffs aren't enacted, businesses are preparing by buying products ahead of time and taking that money away from Christmas bonuses. Other companies have already announced January 1st layoffs. Where'd that information come from, Carol? I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just saying
it comes from a news media.
It comes from a news media. You know you're not getting the whole story there. That suggests panic. So yeah. Robert says, I'm thinking Walter should be voted president of USA and be done with it.
No thanks, I don't want that job.
Oh God, no one wants that. It would make Trump look like a saint. Carol says, our Supreme Court ruled that Trump can break any law with impunity. I spent Trump's last term with tachycardia. Not looking forward to his next term.
I think you're overthinking it.
I think so. Yeah.
Worry about it when it hits you in the face.
The thing is, Trump is lazy. He's basically lazy. He'd rather be out in a golf course beating his balls around than doing what needs to be done. And to being the president of the United States is hard work. It's not a picnic out there. So he will do the bare minimum. I think what we have to watch is not Trump. We have to watch the people behind Trump. And that's a whole conversation for another day, not today. With that. So anyways, I just think we just sit, wait, watch, and deal when we have to deal. But right now, don't lose sleep over it. Don't be starting to take pills.
I mean, we've had bad politicians or whatever elected in our own area, and you think it's the end of the world, but then nothing really happens. So
yeah. And one last thing. Don't hate your neighbor because they didn't vote the way you did.
Yeah.
Because that just plays into the whole thing. Everybody has the right to vote for who they want. That is part of being in part of a democracy. So, everybody's entitled to their opinion. Yes, some people state their opinion in a way that is maybe not as nice as other people can state their opinion. But, don't hate them. If this is somebody you've known for years, I mean, families should not split up because of politics. Because there's not a good result to that. And are you going to let politicians wreck your family life or wreck your friendships over politics? I know it happens, but don't let it happen. Don't do that. Just don't talk about it then.
Which is why you don't want to talk about it at Sew Day.
And that brings us back full circle to that. And that's why on Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen or any of my pop-up Sew Days, we will not be talking about politics.
Because everybody has an opinion, and some opinions clash.
It's just like what everybody always says. Everybody, opinions and assholes are similar. Everybody has one. So I think that's a good note to leave this on. So thanks everybody for joining us today with everything, and check out what I put up next week. And yeah, I do not have a date yet for the next pop-up day, but I do believe Russ may have an announcement about a shenanigans Sew Day on his upcoming vlog on Wednesday this week. So do tune in to Russ for that. Tune in to Stephanie. She's got, if you haven't seen it, Stephanie's got some good video of the Quilt Festival down in, that was Houston, right? Houston, I think. So do check. And she also teased us the other day with, she's going to release very soon a couple of new of her patterns. So watch for all of that. And everybody, have a great week, and we'll talk to you all later.